All right, for more on this shutdown showdown, we're joined by our political analyst, Vic Martucci. And Vic, since you lean to the right, let me start it out this way. The Democrats are painting this as the Republicans control all three branches of government, and they do. So isn't it the majority's responsibility to avoid the shutdown?
Well, in truth, they don't control all three branches of government because the fact of the matter is in the Senate, 60 votes are required to pass a continuing resolution.
Correct.
The Republicans only have 51 members, so whatever is passed in the Senate will require some Democrat votes. The Democrats have taken a position that they're going to use that leverage to get a final agreement on DACA, the program for the so-called Dreamers on immigration, as part of any deal to continue the operation of the government.
Okay, now Republicans are trying to make that case right now, the case that you're making to me right now. The problem is every time in my lifetime that we've seen this back since the Clinton days in the 90s, every time there's been a showdown like this, the Republicans always end up losing out. What makes Republicans think this is going to be any different this time if they go ahead and decide to die on this hill, so to speak?
Sure. Well, first of all, I would disagree with you. I think that if anybody's going to die on the hill, it's going to be the Democrats, because the Democrats have already bragged to the press that they have the votes to, quote, shut the government down. So they've already staked out their ground. But what's different is in the past, when we've had government shutdowns, the Republicans have controlled the Congress, but there was a Democrat president. And so this is different. You have a Republican president, a Republican Congress, of which you have a United States Senate that cannot pass a continuing resolution without 9 Democrat votes. So in the end, if there's no deal, it's because 9 Democrats refused to vote for the continuing resolution.
There's a different kind of Republican in the White House this time around than there's been in the past, to be fair. And it seems like from the top down, Republicans are really pushing back a little bit stronger than we've seen in the past. Is that going to factor into this? Do you think the American people take a look and say, well, this is a different Republican Party, maybe we should hold off on blaming them for this shutdown?
Well, I think that's part of it. I also think that the Republicans have gotten better at messaging. I've just been following the Twitter feeds for the last couple days leading up to the showdown, and the Republicans' message on this is very disciplined and very clear. And the fact of the matter is that the DACA issue does not have to be resolved today. There's a March deadline on that. It's not a budget issue. DACA is not a budget issue. And clearly what we have at stake here, if the government gets shut down, is you have a halt to funding for the military, you have a halt to funding for health care programs like the Children's Health Care Program, and in fact the Republicans have agreed to extend the CHIP program, the Children's Health Care Program, for 6 years. That's a deal that I'm frankly surprised that the Democrats haven't taken.
Before I let you go, in the end, though, don't the Democrats have the emotional argument on their side? I mean, they can make the case that there's these dreamers who are in a bad spot, brought to this country through no fault of their own, and we need to make a deal on this now. And this is the only way we can get your attention because the Republicans control all three branches of government. Don't they have the emotional argument on their side when the Republicans are arguing budget process?
Well, I think in the beginning, they have the emotional argument on their side with their base. Their base is very interested and very concerned about a permanent solution to DACA. The reality is, and this is frankly why they lost the White House, is they continue to ignore middle income and lower middle income voters who will be severely impacted by a government shutdown, particularly those families that have children that are on the Children's Health Care Program. So once the initial reaction to the government shutdown occurs, and people begin to see the impact on their own lives, on their own pocketbook, I think the Democrats are running a high-risk strategy here, and I think in the end it's going to backfire on them. And frankly, I think that's why there's going to be a deal. It's no accident that Senator Schumer went to the White House today and tried to work out a deal with the president.
There could be a third possibility. Both sides could end up looking bad. That's also a possibility as well.
And you know what? Frankly, when you look at the polls, that's usually the case. People have a very low opinion of government in general.
All right. Vic Martucci, Vic, we appreciate some of your time this afternoon.